If you like bikes, stay tuned. We'll have lots of them, from the newest sport and super bikes to the latest big cruisers, super cruisers, and exotics. We'll head to Chattanooga for a look at another new 04, or is it an old 4.0? Then Tommy G will do more on our big bore 95-inch motor and TDC's Harley Project of the Week. Hey, welcome to Top Dead Center, where we're all about motorcycles. Anything motorcycles, everything motorcycles. Hi, I'm Alan Neighbors, and today we are taking you to Dallas for a high-speed look at this year's most interesting bikes, why they're important, and what they cost. Now hold on for TDC's tour of the new bike show, where we'll check out the class of 04. Time for a new bike? Check out the International Motorcycle Show, a giant coast-to-coast tour of two-wheel speed and beauty, with tons of new 04 models on display from the Japanese brands, the American factories, the exotics from Italy, and the latest from the Germans and the Brits. Bring your checkbook. It's an awesome display of chrome and performance on steroids.
We're in 13 major markets across the U.S. Last year we saw almost 600,000 power sports enthusiasts.
And this year they'll also be entertained with some dizzying stunts at the Crazy Ball of Steel show.
For the power sports enthusiast, the level of excitement you get when you walk through the doors is similar to that of a 6-year-old walking downstairs, seeing all those presents under the tree on Christmas morning. It just gets you and it grabs you, and it's a great place to be.
Honda heats up the 1-liter superbike category with their new CBR 1000RR.
Technology on this motorcycle is incredible, starting right from the front. Line beam headlights, radial mounted brakes, dual-stage fuel injection, unit ProLink. It just goes on and on about this motorcycle, and we're ready to get to Daytona with this.
Miguel Duhamel will surely appreciate the unit ProLink rear suspension inside the swing arm and the bike's electronic steering damper. Yamaha showed off its new R1 4-cylinder with trick 5-valve heads, twin ram air intakes, and underseat exhaust, developing 180 horsepower in an ultralight 379-pound package. Kawasaki's response, the awesome new Ninja ZX-10R.
This is Kawasaki's first serious stab at the leader class motorcycle.
A serious stab indeed, with a new inline 4, aluminum chassis, titanium exhaust, slipper clutch with magnesium covers, wave pattern rotors, and the list goes on. America's sport bike leader Buell rolled out their new 1200cc Street Fighter, the Firebolt XB12R. Test leaning their new Lightning was also a hit, as was Eric's radical engineering like the ZTL brake design. Or maybe it's the big cruisers that turn you on. Harley showed their 95-inch Screamin' Eagle Deuce and the new drop-dead gorgeous V-Rods, the stunning new Dyna 88 Twins, and Milwaukee's classic retro-inspired Softails. But the big news from Harley is the updated Sportster, with subtle-looking but significant redesigns to the frames and all-new ISO-mounted engines. Yamaha pulled out all the stops, showing off their knockout Roadstar Warrior, a beauty and beast for sure, with 4-valve heads and 102 cubic inches. Victory revealed this bad boy from artist Arlen Ness, the Signature Series Vegas, and their newest 92-incher, the Kingpin.
Well, when they see a bike like this awesome Kingpin with all it's just dripping in chrome and the beautiful flame paint, I mean, you see the emotion. People get really, really excited, and nobody needs a motorcycle, let's face it, it's a pleasure.
Kawasaki delivered pleasure and performance, revealing their new Boulevard burner, the Pushrod Vulcan 2000. Why the world's biggest V-twin?
Every red light, somebody's gonna pull up and say, I've got a V-twin, let's go. But they're not gonna even stand a chance.
Not as big, but plenty sophisticated, BMW showed off the striking new Montauk Cruiser with Telever front suspension and more powerful 1200 boxer engine. Triumphed up the ante with their retro-styled 900cc air-cooled Thruxton twin. But it was their massive 704-pound heavyweight, the new Rocket 3, that got the most attention.
Well, the Rocket 3 has been a concept for several years. We've come out with the largest manufactured engine in the world, 2,300 cc's, 140 cubic inches of raw power.
The injected inline triple delivers 140 horses to the pavement through a drive shaft and the swing arm that connects to a monster 240-millimeter tire. Continuing the theme that size really does matter, Honda gathered crowds with their futuristic 6-cylinder Rune heavy cruiser.
Very specialized for that high-end customer. Probably the owner owns several motorcycles. This is what they want to cruise and be seen on.
On the other end of the size spectrum, how about Kymco's value-priced Vinox, a liquid-cooled 250V twin from Taiwan? And motocross fans got to see Suzuki's new RMZ 250. The 204-pound four-stroke should make Roger DeCusser's job easier. No, you're not seeing double. Kawasaki's green KX 250F is identical to the Suzuki thanks to joint engineering development. And Honda unveiled their solution to kickstarting enduro bikes. The CRF 250X has a welcome electric starter and tips the scales at a scant 232 pounds. Coming up, one of motorcycles' fastest growing categories, the exotics from Italy. Now, whether it's the chrome that turns you on or the carbon fiber, before you buy a new bike, you need to experience a little Mediterranean culture. Ah, smell the garlic. Well, no doubt about it, America is the undisputed leader when it comes to big cruisers. And the Japanese clearly dominate four-cylinder superbikes. But when it comes to exotics, you need to go Italian. The best V-twins from Bologna, Noale, and Manella dell'Ario have the sex appeal that make them, well, exotic. For the purists, clip-on models like Ducati's 749 Testastrada define the category.
Best passion are bike, engine, motor, race, and woman. And this bike, from the top side, looks like a woman. And that is nice, it's beautiful. The contrary Ducati come from many years of racing bike and from the race. And from the race come the passion that all the persons that work in Bologna have. And that's why we make this wonderful machine that at the end are dream. So you don't ride a bike, you ride a dream.
Less beauty and more brute is Ducati's 4-valve hooligan, the Monster SR4, with tall exhaust, single-side swing arm, and Street Fighter forks and brakes. Ducati also debuted their more well-mannered Multistrada 1000.
What we're using in the Multistrada is our 90-degree L-twin with the 2-valve desmotic valve actuation system, which gives us enormous performance. We're using twin spark ignition on it for low emissions and good throttle response. It's fully fuel injected, 6-speed, dry clutch, state-of-the-art from toe to toe.
At Moto Guzzi, old world craftsmanship and limited production contribute to the appeal.
They really are handmade motorcycles. We joke at Moto Guzzi that our fully automated factory is 300 Italians strong. The Italians always keep fashion in mind. The passion of their products, the aesthetics of their products are of the most importance to them. Performance, power, longevity go right along with that.
Like Guzzi's V11 Bellabio Naked Sport with Gold Series Brimbos, 1100cc 90-degree V-twin, and raised bars for a more relaxed riding position. And for the first time in the US, the 5-speed Brava 750 with shaft drive, Marzocchi forks, and single front disc. Aprilia is cloning ingredients from 22 GP championships into their 1-liter street twins.
Technology such as slipper clutches, carbon fiber, forged wheels, radial brakes. We were the first motorcycle company ever to have radial brakes on our Grand Prix technology bikes. And now it's on our street machines. You know, it's absolutely a direct line from racing to production on our bikes.
Their new Naked Sport bristles with carbon fiber bits surrounding a 1-liter, 138 horsepower, 60-degree twin.
The 210 Racing is built for the superbike fan who doesn't want to be laying down on the gas tank. You want to sit up a little bit, and that's what this bike is for. It's absolutely a riot to ride. It's a lot of fun.
My problem is, I want them all, including one of the burly bad boys in our next story. Coming up, an exhaust note from the past. Speed and Custom says it all at Honest Charlie's Speed Shop in Chattanooga. Here, the bike and the hot rod converge in a salute to nostalgia. The Honest Charlie Flathead V8 motorcycle. It's the brainchild of two motorcyclists, antique tire baron Corky Coker and partner Mike Goodman.
We're bike riders, and we want to make sure that these bikes are unique in their own special way, and for the collector, because this bike isn't for everybody. Everything comes together, and when you see it, hear it, feel it, experience it, it really is a unique bike. And the rider that rides this bike has something that nobody else has.
To be sure of that, a dedicated shop and team of specialty fabricators do all the work. From hand-building custom frames from scratch to machining and blueprinting components, before completely rebuilding 1940 Ford V8s for their reincarnation as motorcycle engines. The result, a collectible, no-frills, ready-to-ride attention getter. But why a flathead?
There's something very, very special about the exhaust note of a flathead Ford, and I think that it transcends even more than just what we hear. I think it takes all of us back to another era. This motorcycle sounds exactly like a 40 Ford without mufflers.
Shorty headers with straight-through fishtails guarantee it. In a world of advanced motorcycle technology, this unit is retro tech Henry Ford would be proud of. The 21.5 MSRP gives you access to a 65-year-old time capsule that spools out 60 horsepower at a leisurely 3,600 RPM. A leather pillion and saddle lead to a 4-gallon tank housing a vintage Holley 2-barrel and electric fuel pump. At 25 miles per gallon, expect to get 100 miles per tank. The 136-inch iron mill is cooled with a radiator, electric fan, and chrome recovery tank. A Mallory electronic distributor gets spark from a 12-volt dry charge battery and chrome starter. And 11.5-inch stainless disc brakes haul the big bike down from its 100-mile-per-hour top end. It's chain-driven through a custom-engineered single-speed gearbox with a 1-to-1 ratio. That's right, no shifting required and no neutral. A handlebar-mounted detent holds the auto-style clutch disengaged until you're ready to roll. Out on the road, the sweet-sounding 750-pound Flatty is a smooth cruiser. The chrome Springer fork and rigid rear combo evoke the barnstorming era of Iron Man and Iron Machines. But it's a Spartan ride by design. Heck, if you want creature comforts, go buy a Goldwing. But if you're looking for a totally unique bike without pretense, something really different that's a hoot to ride, the Honest Charlie V8 will take you back in time. Honest. Coming up, Tommy G tackles today's TDC Project of the Week.
Hi, welcome back to Top Dead Center. I'm Tommy G, here with part 2 of our Harley build-up project. Last week, we began by installing an Edelbrock 95-inch performance kit with bigger pistons and a set of Edelbrock performance heads. Today, we'll continue the project by adding more of the kit, including the intake manifold and a bigger carburetor. Plus, we'll bolt on a hotter digital ignition and a 2-in-1 exhaust. Let's get started with the manifold. Add the factory airflow sensor to the manifold and slip it on the location bolts. The mounting bolts need to be tight enough to compress the rubber seals, but not too tight. You don't want to strip the threads in the head. Then reconnect the wiring harness. Now we're ready to bolt on our carburetor. This is Edelbrock's new pumper carb. It's a flat slide design with a bigger 42mm Venturi, matched to feed our 95-inch motor. The Edelbrock carb uses the stock throttle cables. Just attach them to the cable wheel. Then press the carb over the rubber seal on the spigot. Make sure it goes all the way on. Flip the throttle a few times to be sure the slide opens and bottoms all the way. Since our bigger motor and carb will draw more air and fuel, a hotter ignition will really give it more spark energy. This Twin-Tech digital ignition has adjustments that will tune for more aggressive advanced curves, even multi-spark, and you can also adjust your rev limiter. The OEM ignition module is buried underneath the electrical box at the back of the coil. It's not too hard to get to, which is good since you may need to go through this drill a few times until you get the box set exactly where you want it. All right, more air-fuel mixture, more spark. All we need now is better exhaust flow. This 2-in-1 exhaust from Hooker headers will make that happen. Let's get the header on first, then I'll tell you about this tricked out muffler. This system will add power, reduce weight, and look and sound better than the restrictive stock exhaust. It comes with new gaskets, hardware, and brackets. This system has a baloney cut muffler with a power adjustment ring. That way we can tune our back pressure. All of today's parts are easy bolt-ons that will make a big difference. Man, that looks sick. That's all the time we have for this week. We'll do more work on this in the future. But next week, you motocross guys are gonna love this. We're gonna bring in a YZ250F and pump it up.
All right, now we're gonna be making over 100 horsepower with our Big Inch project bike. And to get that extra power to the pavement, we're gonna need a tire upgrade. Now let's talk a little about traction options. At the extreme end of it, we have the Mickey Thompson ET Drag Slick. Now these are the big 26, 10, 15 skins the NHRA Pro Stock racers use. They're about $215 each. Obviously more than we need. Okay, now moving closer to reality. Here is the 32-22 Slick. These are about $160 a piece. Now they're great for the strip, but you can't ride them on the highway. All right, now for something you can use on the street and the strip. Tommy G and I are gonna use the Mickey Thompson MCR2. All right guys, now this rear tire is grooved and more triangulated for the street. It's the #1 tire in the street bike shootout class. Now they're about $230 a piece, and it's what we're going to mount as we finish our Super Glide. We're also going to step up our new motor with a new lubricant. We're going to use Royal Purple's synthetic motor oil. Now it's pricey at $8.97 a quart, but it's cheap insurance for our 95-inch hot rod. And yes, we'll take our camera crew to the track when we're done to show you how the bike performs. Well, that about wraps up TDC for this week. Tommy and I will be back next week for our special from the Del Mar weekend. We'll see you then.